It's April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. I feel like I should be telling you something right now and then saying like, April Fools! Ah ha ha ha, I'm so funny. But I can't think of anything right now. It's the end of the week and I think my brain's just kind of shot. So, I'm curious, if you have a favorite April Fool's prank that you've ever pulled on anybody, like comment below and let me know. I'm curious because I am fresh out of ideas. With that being said, happy Friday and welcome to TGIF, Wilson County Public Library's Book Talk, where we look at the best in YA literature. I'm your host, Kate Britton. I'm the teen librarian here at the Wilson County Public Library. And I'm really glad that you're joining me on today's episode because today we're going to talk about an important and touchy subject. I feel like a lot of YA books nowadays, a lot of books targeted towards teens, kind of touch on subjects that are not like, I wouldn't say taboo, but subjects that like we don't just talk about usually in normal conversation, and they're situations that we all should be aware of. So whether it's something like domestic violence or something, or non-domestic violence, general violence, or to something like we're talking about today, which is the opioid epidemic, which is affecting people all over the nation and the world. So today's book is called You'd Be Home Now, and it was written by an author named Kathleen Glasgow. She wrote a New York Times bestselling book, Girl in Pieces. If you have heard of that or read that, it's the same author. And this takes place in a small town called Millhaven. Interesting note, this book is actually based on Our Town by Thornton Wilder, which was a play about a small town in New Hampshire. And that's all I'm really going to say. But it's a great play. So if you ever have a chance to read it, I love it dearly. It is near and dear to my heart. But it's about everyday life in a small town in New Hampshire. And it's so much more interesting than that. But this book takes place in a small town called Millhaven, and it follows a character named Emery. She's got an older sister who she's kind of overshadowed by in a lot of ways. She's also got an older brother named Joey, who's a bit of a stoner, and she kind of has to look after him in a lot of ways. And she was in a car accident with her brother Joey, and it killed a girl in their town. And it kind of shows how bad Joey's drug habit is, and it has to do with opioids. 4 months after that, Joey's back from rehab. Emery is starting her junior year of high school, and the whole town of Millhaven's kind of reeling from this accident. And when you grow up in a small town, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. I did, and a little bit. I mean, not in like a big, huge way. But when you grow up in a small town, the joke is, if you don't know what you're doing, somebody else does, right? And people know who you are. They know who your parents are. Sometimes they know who your grandparents are, like in my case, or your great-grandparents. And they kind of know who you are, so they sometimes kind of tell you who you are or who you're supposed to be. And that's kind of what is happening with Emery. But she's seeing that not everything in this small town is as it appears. Her brother might not be this cured, popular, this cured guy, and popular. And there are a lot of, addicts in the town and people struggling with issues like that through the town. And so it's how this family kind of reconciles what happens, and they kind of recognize who they are to each other and who they are to the world. And it's a really wonderful story, and heartbreaking at times, about the opioid crisis and how it affects people's lives and how we deal with that as people, and how we try to move ahead from tragedy. So if that sounds like a book that would interest you, it's called You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. Check it out. I think, figuratively and literally, like I always say, We do have it here in the library. And if you have read this book, tell me what you thought of it. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But with that being said, I hope you all have a lovely weekend. It is springtime. Enjoy it, except the pollen. The pollen apocalypse, the pollinating is upon us, so be careful with that. It's killing my allergies. But I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you right here next time on TGIF. Bye, guys. Be good.